former federal Labor leader Bill Shorten to quit politics and become Vice-Chancellor of University of Canberra. The former federal Labor leader Bill Shorten is retiring from politics to take up the role of Vice-Chancellor at the University of Canberra. Shorten said on Thursday, "My actions are my choice," and after 6 terms and 17 years in Parliament, he believed it was time to go.
Thanks for joining us. My friend Bill Shorten has decided that he will not be contesting the next election. It's a big decision for him, for Chloe and their family who are joining us here today. Chloe and Clementine, welcome. And Bill and I have had a number of conversations over this, about this over a period of time. I think it's a credit to Bill that this news will come as a surprise, because at no point in the past 2 and a bit years would any observer of Australian politics think that Bill Shorten was taking it easy or slowing down. In this term and right throughout his 17 years in Parliament, and before that as an official, a proud official of the trade union movement, Bill has given it everything every single day. On that note, I want to make it clear that I've asked Bill to remain in Cabinet until he departs in February, because he and I agree there is important work still to be done to put the National Disability Insurance Scheme on a sustainable footing. When Bill was elected to Parliament in 2007, he was appointed to the new role of Parliamentary Secretary for Disabilities. Just 6 years later, the National Disability Insurance Scheme was part of Australia's social safety net. That tells a tale. It speaks for Bill's determination, his drive and his advocacy, his passion for this area throughout his entire time in public life, and his determination to make a difference, including to the most vulnerable people. I want him to finish the work he's undertaking to secure the best possible outcome for people with disability, their families and carers. Equally, I know that Bill is very determined to see the job through. Now, only 21 people have had the extraordinary privilege of leading Australia's oldest and greatest political party. Bill took over in the wake of a demoralising 2013 defeat. He united the party, he re-energised the caucus, he saw off 2 Prime Ministers, and he rebuilt Labor into a strong opposition and a genuine alternative government. Through his years as leader, no one worked harder than Bill. No one brought more energy, enthusiasm, ideas and ambition to advocating for the need for a Labor government. It is a measure of Bill's character that he channelled the disappointment of 2019 into fighting for justice for the victims of robo-debt. His work has made our government stronger and our nation better. When you think about those 3 things that Bill, up to this point, more to do in his career, will be, I think, quite rightly praised for: his work with the trade union movement, helping working people, his support for people with disabilities and their families and carers, and his support for the victims of robo-debt. They have that social justice thread through them in the finest traditions of the Labor movement. I want to thank him for the valuable contribution that he has made as a minister in my government. And on behalf of the Australian Labor Party, I thank Bill Shorten for the decades of service he has given to the Labor movement and to the lives of working people. And I look forward to, over coming months, continuing to watch Bill make a difference in public life, and beyond that, making a difference to Australian society in his next endeavours. Bill Shorten. Pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've decided not to seek a 7th term in Parliament. Over 30 years ago, when I joined the Australian Workers' Union, I was driven by the belief that everyone, regardless of circumstance, deserves an equal opportunity. the opportunity to fulfil their potential. That's what fair wages and safe workplaces, decent conditions are all about. It's recognising the merit and worth of every individual. It's the same principle which brought me here in 2007. A determination to always stand up for the underdog, for all the people who don't start out with the same set of advantages in life. But there's something else that AW members have taught me. In the end, we're all just passing through. What matters is whether we leave the place better than we found it. That's the challenge I've always been up for. It's why I'm so proud to serve in the Albanese government. I genuinely consider myself to be one of the luckiest people in politics. I've been the member for Maribyrnong. It's a community I love so much. I've had the privilege to serve in portfolios that I care about. There was the bushfire reconstruction, industrial relations, superannuation. When I first came here, the Junior Minister for Disabilities, and now the Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And for nearly 6 years, I had the very amazing privilege of serving as leader of our party and the movement which has been such an irreplaceable part of my life. None of this would have been possible without the tremendous love, patience, support from Chloe, Rupert, Georgette and Clementine, the sacrifices they've made. Chloe has been a tower of love and strength, and I think she's shown more courage than I dreamed could exist. I'll thank others later because today is not my valedictory. There's plenty more work to be done. I would like to take this opportunity to make a couple of reflections. When I was voted Labor leader after the 2013 election, the party, as the Prime Minister said, was at a low ebb. We were reduced to 55 seats, our worst result since 1996. We were up against an ascendant Abbott government with a fierce ideological agenda, and the 2014 budget was the centre of that. There was an attempt to dismantle Medicare, slash the funding for schools and hospitals, make it harder for people to go to university. They're ripping off the safety net for people on the pension and young people looking for work. And they were walking away from renewable energy arena, turning our back on climate action. If you look back at the commentary at the time, there were many who said Labor should simply roll over, accept the mandate, support these visionary ideas. There were some who argued it would be smart politics for us to let people feel the pain of these cuts. But instead, our united team, we decided to back ourselves. We stood against these changes. We looked to Australians not just for their approval, we trusted in their instinct for fairness. We argued on the policy, we took the responsibility to put forward positive alternatives, put pressure back on the other side. Not every idea succeeded, I understand that. We didn't win every battle, but Labor, we never stopped trying. Whether it was defending Medicare or real action on climate, marriage equality, advancing First Nations representation in our ranks, championing wages and conditions, setting a target of 50% of women MPs by 2025, the Banking Royal Commission or tax reform. These were hard fights, all worth having. Just as the Robo-Debt Royal Commission, which our Prime Minister backed in shadow cabinet from day one, is now changing social services for the better. Even Labor's tax cuts, now delivering for every Australian, including low and middle income earners, instead of the flat rate at the top end. That was a battle that started many years ago. This is always when Labor is at its best, when we are the party of ambition and compassion, when we use the power of politics to stand up for those who were denied power by the circumstances of their birth or the shafts of fate. The Prime Minister gets that. It's what drives our entire government. It's what continues to drive me every day. I particularly want to speak to people with disability, their carers and the people who love them and work with them. I love the NDIS. I helped create it. We've repaired it. I'll always defend it. I will use every minute left in this job to secure the future of the scheme and ensure it continues to empower with choice and control and give Australians with disability the chance to fulfil their potential. And the same goes for every Australian who relies on Services Australia. We've got work to do to ensure our citizens can access services equitably, fairly and quickly. And the digital transformation that we do will prioritise the ability of our citizens to control their own information. In conclusion, I've experienced some extraordinary political highs in the last 17 years, and let's face it, some extraordinary political lows. But there is not a single day in the last 17 years that I would hand back, because every day I know how lucky I have been to have the privilege to serve the Australian people.